Welcome to our meditation time for those in person and those virtually. So I invite you to get comfortable, to close your eyes, to let the chair fully support you. As you gently breathe, perhaps you imagine that you're breathing into your heart center. Take another breath into your belly and let any tension or busy thoughts go. As you breathe, feel yourself relaxing into a deep and quiet place within you. As you rest, imagine any concerns, any burdens, any worries you have are offered to the loving divine. This love transforms and heals. An affirmation you may want to take into the silence this morning is, I trust Spirit that everything is moving on my behalf to reveal more wholeness, more freedom, more health, and more abundance. And as we go into the silence now, open to that still, small voice within that guides you, that connects you to Spirit. remembering this deep well of trust and love. It is always available to us. And as this sacred time in the silence comes to a close, we remain open, receptive, and thankful for the movement of spirit in our lives. And we'll welcome our church family in person and virtually into our celebration service this morning. We know that divine grace and love greets and enfolds everyone today. We bless and are grateful for everyone serving today. And so it is. Namaste.
It's my great honor to welcome you to Unity in Lynnwood, where we affirm the inherent dignity, value, potential, and right to be of every life as an emanation of that one life we choose to call God. To explore on-campus and virtual opportunities for those aged toddler through 18, please contact that program's director. Our radical welcome includes all. Please stay in touch through the social media platforms of your choice by visiting unityinlynnwood.org, by registering to receive electronic communications, or by downloading the Breeze app. Those who download the Breeze app will receive a free gift through the mail. And if you would like to pray in strict confidence with one of UIL's trained prayer chaplains, whether for support or celebration or regular maintenance, start the process by contacting that program's director. We believe in the capacity of an elevated consciousness to give rise to an elevated experience. And UIL's Prayer Ministries is eager to support you in doing just that, whether virtually, in person, or by telephone. Finally, we believe giving in its highest form is a spiritual practice, and we're grateful to be among the beneficiaries of your spiritual practice. May your generosities of hand and heart return to you in untold ways as they reach into our greater world to bless. So again, welcome. Everything Unity in Lynnwood has is available to you. We're honored by our shared journey.
Stumbling through our humanity, we're just walking each other home. We're just walking each other home.
Good morning. I think that's just going to be a precious thing forever. You know, what we take for granted, and then we didn't have for a while. I mean, to hear a good morning back, wow! I am going to just not ever take that for granted again. Wow! Good morning and welcome. We are so glad that you're here with us this morning. This beautiful, typical Northwest morning. We're so glad you're here with us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You know, when I was in the 11th grade, my biology was the class that was right after lunch. And oh gosh, that poor teacher, you know, having to deal with a bunch of carbohydrate overloaded teenagers who are semi-conscious, trying to get us to pay attention in that warm room with full bellies. And one day, while she was drawing what I think I remember as being the Krebs cycle on the blackboard, she turned around and saw all of us half asleep, quasi-comatose. And it wasn't like that was the first time that had happened, but on this particular time, something snapped in her, and she started shouting at us. And she said, "How can you just sit there?" She goes, "When this very moment there is blood coursing through your veins and nerve cells sending signals from one end of your body to the other, and cells are absorbing nutrients and excreting waste." And boy, she had our attention. I can remember feeling my body tingling and vibrating. Oh my God, she goes, you know, and other things are going, she goes, "There are cells right now that are saving your life." You know, repairing the cut that you got yesterday. And we're all like, ugh. Wow, it was absolutely amazing. And what I remember about that is feeling for the first time how miraculous it was that we were even here. That we were even here, just that let alone all the myriad of things going on in our body. It was just, and how intricate it all is. It was absolutely miraculous that we even exists, that even this is around. And over time, I've come to be in awe of the creative power that is responsible for this body, for this slowed down body of energy. And with it, I'm in awe of the intelligence that's back of it all, that thought this body and all of your bodies into being, with all of its homeostatic, perfect order detail. And it makes me in awe of all of manifest creation. And so will you just close your eyes with me for a moment and just be in awe of this creation that we get to be a part of, and be in awe of this one infinite mind back of it all that's thinking it all into detail, all into being in this exquisite amount of interdependent detail. I mean, my mind gets blown again and again when I allow myself to ponder the breadth and width and depth and the amount of detail in this universe. You know, all those small things, all the myriad of tiny little things that I can't even get my head around. I mean, I don't even know how my body gets up and does what it does. It is so involved. And for the past 6 weeks, Dr. Richard has been opening us up to the knowing that that same creative force that is responsible for this amazing body and universe that we inhabit. This creative force that is intrinsic to that one infinite mind, that presence that we call God, is also intrinsic to us, because we are inseparably one with this ground of all being. And Dr. Richard has been opening us up to the creative potential that lives within and as each one of us. And that the creation story is a description of that process, a guidebook, if you will. So will you see with me that the creative life that is bursting forth in this creation that is all around us, as trees and plants and insects and birds and lizards and clouds and the cycle of water and oceanic life, that we are part of it. We are part of all of it, because that same creative force is bursting forth as us. Will you get excited with me and hear the voice of my biology teacher of 20, 40, long time ago, describing in detail how that creative force has created you, has created me, and that it's bursting forth all around us, harmoniously, coordinating the multitude of tasks that all of it must do to keep us walking and talking and breathing and thinking, and all of the processes that our body does that we don't even have to think about. And that same creative force is fully available to us right here and right now. Will you feel into that with me? Feel into that knowing with me. And then let us open our faculty of faith and take it in. And I allow gratitude to rise in me for the knowing of this truth and for my willingness to choose to use it. And as Dr. Richard said, we have access to this creative power that is immense and infinite and boundless. Let us use it wisely. And so it is.
People get ready, there's a train that's coming. Don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith to hear diesel's humming. Don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. So people get ready. There's a train to Jordan, picking up passengers coast to coast. Faith is the key. Open the doors and board 'em. There's hope for all among those who love the most. Hey, Dawda. There ain't no room for the hopeless sinner who would hurt all mankind just to save his own. I have pity on those whose chances grow thinner, 'cause there's no hiding place in the kingdom's throne. People get ready, there's a train that's coming. You don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith. Just hear those diesels humming. You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. I know the hey, oh the hey, oh the hey, oh thank the Lord. Oh hey, 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 hey. I know you've been a little tired. I know you've been a little sick in your heart. I know you've been feeling some fear. But thank the Lord, I know you're feeling tired. I know you've had enough. I know you wanna feel Spirit's groove. Oh, Spirit, move us. Spirit, move us. Spirit, move us. Spirit, move us. So, people are getting ready. There's a train that's coming. You don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesels humming. You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. Gratitude. You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord.
Lavon Hardison, thank you for being here with us today.
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good. It's gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right. As I turn up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind. I see the kids in the street without enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their needs? A summer's disregard, a broken bottle top, and one man's soul. They follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got no place to go. That's why I want you to know I'm starting with the man in the mirror. that there's some with no home, not a nickel to own. Could it be really me pretending that they're not alone? A willow deeply scarred, somebody's broken heart, and a washed down dream. They follow the patterns of the wind, you see, 'cause they got nowhere to be. That's why I'm starting with me. I'm starting with that man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, 'cause no message can get any clearer. If you want to make a world a better place, you gotta look at yourself, you gotta make a change. I'm starting with that man in the mirror. I'm asking her to change her ways, and no message can get any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, you gotta look at yourself, make a change.
Lavon Hardison. Oh, can we have her back again? Oh. Good morning again. So, last call for gala seats. And I can hardly believe that our 40th anniversary gala is coming up this Saturday. And there are only 8 seats left. Actually, 7 seats left. So to make your purchase, you can go to UIL's website, click on the calendar page. You can click on the calendar page, or you can go under the support tab and go ahead and sign up, pick your meal. If you prefer to join us from the comfort of your own home, I think we have a few virtual seats left. This year's gala is made possible by our premium sponsors, Howard and Judy Chermak. Their sponsorship, yay! Their sponsorship this year is dedicated to someone named Nina's ordination, and all of the loyal stewards of Unity in Lynnwood. Howard and Judy, our hearts are full with gratitude for you. And I also want to thank our other co-sponsors, John and Barbara Thorpe, and Jennifer Lovejoy and Kurt Larson, for their sponsorships. And we have 2 other sponsors who also chose to remain anonymous. So permit me, I tried to look up jokes, because jokes has kind of gotten to be a thing for the gala, and there are none. There are none for anniversaries. Well, there are some. You can't repeat them in church. So permit me to stroll you through the evening. The doors will open at 6 p.m., and guests will delight in appetizers and beverages and connection with each other until the dinner bell, at which point the inspired vegetarian cuisine of Chef Robin Harville will find its way onto your plates. And if you haven't had the opportunity to sample her food from one of our garden party concerts, you're in for a treat. And after the meal, there's going to be dessert and a raffle featuring a gift basket from our own Soul Things gift store, and a cake that Robin is going to make specially for us. And it is, if you haven't seen her cakes, oh my God, they're works of art. And I can't eat wheat, but I've heard that they are just astonishingly amazing and don't last the night. So, and then Nathan has created a video presentation of the last 40 years, pictures and interviews and all kinds of things that will be presented for our keynote for this year. And then Karen and I decided that fund and need didn't resonate with the consciousness of our community. And so we changed it to fund a vision. And so imagine with me gathering with other dear souls in our Soul Greens restaurant, laughing, sharing stories, and really good coffee and food. And imagine with me this vision that is a gift that continues to give year after year as another channel for a divine supply in the form of revenues as we upgrade the use of our space in the most responsible fashion possible. This year's fund division will support the administrative expenses specific, boy, that's a tongue twister, administrative expenses specific to the first year of Soul Greens. So whether you choose to attend the gala or not, please prayerfully consider supporting this vision. You may do so at any time. The link is up on the website under the support tab. 4 diverse ministries have been selected for UIL to give back to our greater community this year: the Islamic Center of Mukilteo, the Hindu Temple and Cultural Center of Bothell, First African Methodist Episcopal Church of Seattle, and the Church of Indian Fellowship of Tacoma. Yeah. Yeah. And after all of this good stuff, we will cap the evening with a magical mini concert featuring Richard and Matthew. So I encourage you to grab one of the few remaining tickets or join us virtually so that you can celebrate 40 years as community with all of us. Thank you.
How about thank you, Reverend Nina Clark, and thanks to Karen Breen James for chairing such a noble gathering. Your community is grateful. Good morning, Unity in Lynnwood. Good morning, Unity in Lynnwood. You are starting to look like Unity in Lynnwood at long last. Welcome to those who are gathered in our physical sanctuary. Welcome to those who are gathered in our virtual sanctuary alike. Perhaps those in our physical sanctuary would turn to a camera and say, welcome. Together, welcome. One more time for good luck. Welcome. And one more time for good luck. Welcome. Oh, my goodness. It is the privilege of a lifetime. It is the honor of an incarnation. It is the delight of my week to stand before you as the spiritual director of an evolving, unfolding idea of oneness and possibility, which we call Unity in Lynnwood. So for that privilege, thank you, and thank you, and thank you. Thank you, Shelley, for leading our time of meditation this morning. If you have not yet returned to the sanctuary for the 30 minutes prior to the beginning of service, you are warmly invited to do so. Thanks to the crew who make everything that happens here visible and audible to you. Thanks to the musicians who give you something pretty fabulous to listen to. Practical spirituality, welcoming community. That mission statement, so short on word, and yet so with such a depth of meaning. Take a deep breath with me. Does this supporting statement belong to you? It's a statement that was developed in conversation with your Board of Trustees beginning in late 2014. It's the second of 6, and it reads as follows: we seek to discover and share spiritual practices which are repeatable and reliable, and to infuse these spiritual practices into every area of our daily living. If you would like to pray with someone following this time together, said a different way, if you would like someone to see a higher truth of you than you, for whatever reason, might be currently capable of seeing for yourself, if you would like a time of allowing someone simply to love you, if you would like a time of another individual allowing you to finally free yourself from that thing, whatever it is, please see Marge following this service. Marge will now wave her hand enthusiastically in your direction. And Anne, okay, all the prayer chaplains will now raise their hands that you might identify them. If you are a member of our virtual audience today and you would like to give yourself to the same privilege, start the process by writing prayer at unityinlynnwood.org. Include a working telephone number and expect a call following our conclusion. this morning words of invocation. You're welcome to speak them aloud. You are welcome to listen. You're welcome to close your eyes and to treat them as something of prayer. They read thusly, though imaged and named variously, there is a singular and eternal ground of being from which all life emanates and into which all life retreats. We choose to call this ground of being God. By extension, we come to understand that we are spiritual in nature, human in expression, and limitless in potential. We gather today to remember such truths, to celebrate our unity, and to honor all life. And so it is. So imagine with me, if you will, no lights, no sound, no actors yet. Imagine that the house lights go to black. Okay. Now I imagine everyone within the sound of my voice can recall or imagine the pregnancy of that moment. The moments which have brought you to your theater experience have ended. And the moments which will define your theater experience have yet to begin. So no lights, no actors, the house lights go to black. And after a few moments of collective anticipation, after a few moments of that collective hush, those velvet curtains whisper open. And even in the darkness, you can make out a scene that is so epic. It's so grand. It's so awesome that it would elicit spontaneous applause or audible gasps, even hysterical tears, were it not for the overwhelming and collective sense of sacredness. You've probably had such an experience. An entire people bonded immediately by something of a powerful shared experience or realization. I might say that after a few moments of collective anticipation, those velvet curtains whisper open, and even in the darkness, you can make out what the dedicated writers describe as the heavens and the earth, though yet without form and void. In other words, you can make out what I imagine to be something of a boundless, quiet sea in an endless, silent night. Now, how does one go about creating a boundless, quiet sea in a theater? You might be tempted to ask, at which point I'm simply going to remind you to stick with the spirit of the tale and avoid meddling in matters best reserved for stage managers and set designers. The velvet curtains whisper open. And even in the darkness, you can make out a boundless, quiet sea in an endless, silent night. And all are held spellbound. This is the opening scene. I like to imagine that it plays to the audience, not so much as an expanse of uncertainty, but as a depth of possibility. Yes, it's overwhelming, it's awesome, it's powerful, it's compelling. A boundless, quiet sea in an endless, silent night. And we've all been in the throes of moments so undeniably holy that we allow them to hold us for as long as they will hold us. In the best of such moments, to be the one who would draw attention from the hush is really quite unthinkable. We've all been in the throes of moments so undeniably holy that we are breathless together. That we are inspired together, that we are humbled together, that we are elevated together. I imagine this opening scene to be such a moment. Breathless, inspired, humbled, and elevated together. A boundless, quiet sea in an endless, silent night. A scene that might be thought to represent a limitless possibility coupled with an eternal availability. An endless possibility coupled with an eternal availability. It's a perfect opening scene to launch an epic teaching about creativity, about your creative potential, about the creative process, and so forth. So imagine the release of that long-awaited moment when the Spirit of God finally blows across the stillness of the deep. Imagine the release of that long-awaited moment when something finally happens. Oh, you can imagine now the applause comes. Now the gasps, now the tears, now they come with something of a ferocity, the grand spectacle of that opening scene, a boundless quiet sea and an endless silent night, after holding us spellbound for what seemed an eternity, gives way to the first ripples across the waters, and that holy hush is broken, and we might imagine sweet string harmonies to be among the first to rise from that cosmic orchestra pit, eventually to climax with the booming timpani as a blinding light fills the stage as the first in an escalating series of creative endeavors. So grand is this moment that I imagine some people spontaneously standing in the aisles, their hands held high, waving as if in some evangelical church experience that just happens to cost $750 per seat. And with the audience enwrapped in the accelerating tempo, our epic tale sees this opening scene begin to unravel, to welcome more and more sights, more and more sounds, more and more life from the appearance of the firmament which separates the stage to the receding of the waters which reveals the stage, to the grasses and the trees which adorn the stage, to the lights which define the stage. The days unfold one into another. Certainly the woodwind players would now be sweetening the score, and with the appearance of the stars, certainly the happy piccolo players would jump in. How can you have the appearance of stars without happy piccolo players? I don't know that it's truly possible. So it's to the audience's delight that lights begin to flicker on. Large lights, small lights, twinkle lights, each with a purpose, whether to insinuate signs or to initiate seasons. By this point in our production, the orchestra is in full swell, and we find anthropomorphic God standing on the edge of that seashore, casting forth whales and their kind to fill the waters, casting forth birds and their kind to fill the air, casting forth all manner of creeping things and their kinds to fill the very aisles of the theater itself. Ooh, and multiply was his decree with every casting forth. Multiply abundantly, and in something of a grand pinnacle moment. Maybe the orchestra pauses on something of a deafening 5-octave tremolo. Or maybe the drums and the electric guitar and the screaming bass jump in for something of a pop opera flair. I'm thinking of the musical Tommy. or maybe Godspell. But in something of a grand pinnacle, God's voice is imagined to ring through the theater declaring, let us make humanity in our image, after our likeness, male and female they, and again let them multiply, at which point I imagine the orchestra to crash into a reprise of some earlier theme, bigger, of course, as a multitude of actors and dancers and acrobats and contortionists, a full pantheon of human expression, male and female, they pile onto the stage for what could only be described as an epic dance number to end all dance numbers. And at the end of those 6 days, God's voice rises above that orchestra to say, this is so good. I think I'm done here. And the lights go out. Now, the applause would be thunderous. It would be thunderous until the next scene opens to anthropomorphic God resting. And this is the 7th day. This is the source of today's conversation. Now, let me tell you what we don't have so far. What we don't have so far is autobiography. We don't have anthropomorphic God writing an epic teaching mythology about anthropomorphic God. That is as nonsensical as Jesus, who's all too often imagined to have gathered his disciples to talk about the return of Jesus. Even though Jesus hasn't gone anywhere. In fact, of the destructive paradigms of modern interpretation, among the top 2 or 3, and it really might be the first, is this notion that anthropomorphic God writes books. When the wonderful wisdom traditions of any people are lost to this paradigm, the costs include our common sense, our scientific knowledge, our human curiosity, even our peacemaking, and more. When the wonderful wisdom traditions of any people are lost to this paradigm, it's inevitable that humanity will find itself warring in one fashion or another over just whose God is the real God. So what we don't have is autobiography, and what we don't have is science. Well, there are those who would believe that the early Hebrews might have been attempting a scientific explanation of the origins of life. I have to tell you, I'm compelled to give them a little more credit than that. I don't think the early writers intended to establish an age for planets. I don't think the early writers intended to detail an order to creation. I don't think the early writers intended to suggest a human supremacy. I don't think the early writers intended to imply even a humanized God. I think the early writers intended to offer a construct about the nature of creator, the nature of creativity, and the nature of created. After all, epic myths, grand stories, sweeping prophecies about ultimate truths, this was the stuff of their world. It's how they did life. To read Genesis 1 with a modern mind's penchant for facts is to stand over that round hole with your square peg, pounding and pounding and pounding. There is no conflict between Genesis 1 and modern science unless you put it there. There is no conflict between Genesis 1 and modern science unless you put it there. There's no conflict because there is no conflict between modern science and spiritual wisdom. Imagine if you were trying to understand someone from a different geography. If you really want to understand what they're saying to you, you will seek to grasp the relevance of their context. You will seek to grasp the significance of their history. You will seek to grasp the meanings of their words. If you really want to understand, you will seek. You won't impose. If you really want to understand, you won't impose your context, your history, your meanings onto theirs. It is a basic grace of being a human being that if you really want to understand, you will seek. And so as we abandon paradigms in which our epic teaching myth is autobiographical or an attempt at early science, what comes forth is a stunning story asserting that there is one source behind the family of life. There's one source behind the family of life as it swims, as it flies, as it walks, as it slithers through the aisles of our cosmic theater. Ooh, there is one source behind the family of life as it enters in translucent effervescence and as it enters in stunning ebony alike. There is one source behind the family of life as it explores as what we might call gay or straight, cis, bi, trans, a, and non alike. There is one source behind the family of life as it expresses as he, she, they, it alike. There is one source behind the family of life as it worships from the mosque, as it worships from the temple, as it worships from the church, as it worships in the forest alike. There is one source behind the family of life as it enters the voting booth to the right and the voting booth to the left alike. There is one source behind the family of life as it moves about the planet on fins or feet or flippers, and as its roots go deep and her branches reach high, hopeful to the skies, that we might behold the wonder of her limitless creativity alike. If you arrived here this morning wondering just who or what resides outside the family of life, Genesis 1 might suggest, well, good luck trying to find the answer to that. Genesis 1, you understand, is among the earliest of our diversity, equity, and inclusion handbooks. No one and no thing resides outside the family of life. In every direction, you behold not but the face of God. So as we abandon paradigms in which our epic teaching myth is autobiographical or scientific, what comes forth is a story asserting that there's one source behind the family of life and that there's something pretty special about you. There's one source behind the family of life and there is something pretty special about you. That is what we have. And I hope each one of us gathered here today can find ourselves in day 7, because it seems to me that in any creative process, there comes a point at which we have to release the work we've done and trust it to its own continuing unfoldment. After all, even though God's imagined to have rested on day 7, God's creation did continue to swim and to fly and to walk and to think and to invent and to multiply. Now, I have to tell you, I am very much about the de-weaponization of religion among peoples through education, practice, and understanding. That's what I'm about. I'm about a world in which the warring, born of superior gods and supreme religions, gives way to the collaborations born of healthy curiosities and bold explorations. I'm very much about that moment in which the Christian realizes that Buddhist practice might be a source of enrichment. I'm very much about that moment in which the atheist realizes that Catholic ritual might be a source of enrichment. I'm very much about that moment in which the naturist realizes that Taoist thought might be a source of enrichment. I'm very much about those moments in which our countless basal mechanisms of tribal safety give way to a holy defenselessness among the family of life. I'm very much about these moments in which one realizes that for all the ways we imagine ourselves to be separate, there is something common. There's something universal, something sacred and beautiful, powerful and decent that unites us at the very core. I'm very much about reminding us that this may well be the highest purpose of religion, not to parse us apart, but to bring us together in a remembering of that which is common and universal and sacred, beautiful, powerful, and decent at the very core of all of us. Now, I will admit, when I look at the world, I have moments of tremendous hope, and I have moments of deep despair. Hope that others are awakening to the possibilities of a new consciousness. Moments of despair that others are retreating to the comforts of known separation. Nonetheless, at 56 years old, and what a privilege it is, by the way, to say that I am 56 years old. I am a proud 56-year-old. What a privilege it is to be here in this amazing garden we share. I'm aware that the day will come when I will look upon the work that I have done and say, this is so, so good. I think I'm done here. And I'll rest even as nature reminds me that there's a time for outpouring and there's a time for ingathering, a time for speaking and a time for listening. There's a time to spin new worlds and a time to give myself in trust, in acceptance, in peace to that Sabbath consciousness. So you see, the day will come when I too will rest, not because the work I have done, not because the work we have done is finished, but because we can know that the work we've done is alive. We can know that the work we have done is vibrant and dynamic on the earth. And that the work we've done will continue to multiply among the family of life. And there's an affirmation for you to consider this week. Today I pause. I bless the work I've done and the progress I've made. How do you like it? Let's try it together. The words will appear on your screen. And today I pause. I bless the work I've done and the progress I've made. Let's take a deep breath. And let's read this one more time before just allowing that idea to have its way with us for a few minutes. One more time together. Today I pause. Feel that. Let's feel that. Today I pause. Be with that. And now, I bless the work I've done and the progress I've made. Let's allow those earthly eyes to close fully. Breathing again, and let's just allow that Sabbath consciousness, that cosmic 7-day awareness to dance its way through us for a minute or two. Feel free to allow these human eyes of ours to reopen. Bringing your attention back to the experience of time and space shared by truly remarkable souls. Let's close our time of consideration, our time of reflection, our time of meditation by saying Amen. And so it is.
Normally, I call this time of the service an offering. And today I'd like to, in the spirit of renaming things, call it a moment or a time of expressing gratitude. If you, like me, are overflowing in this moment for the brilliance and the blessing that as Dr. Richard Loren held, I would just like for you to sit with that for a moment. Let that gratitude fill you up and spill out in any and every way that you can possibly imagine. And if from that place of gratitude you feel inspired to give, to support this community, there's a bowl outside of the sanctuary. There will be directions on the screen. And you may head to the website at any point in time. And for whatever it is that you're choosing to give today, choosing to bless this community with, just hold it in your consciousness and surround it and imbue it with the gratitude that is swirling within you and flowing through and out of you. And know that as you do so, that you are a blessing to this community and to the greater world. And so it is. We have many ways for us to stay connected during this time of, I guess they're not still calling it a pandemic, but during this time of still relative isolation as we manage the tail end of this virus that is within our nation. And so we've tried to have many ways to keep you connected. And some of those ways I'll list, they're on the screen as well. On the second and fourth Thursdays at 7 p.m., you can just hop on Zoom and connect with other like-minded people, chat, share ideas, explore ideas together. And then the last Tuesdays, we have a virtual meeting of the Students of Myrtle group, and that's at 7 p.m. And that's another opportunity to read and learn and expand your knowledge of one of the knowledge with information and teachings by one of the co-founders of Unity, Myrtle Fillmore. And then we have, our interlude service on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. That is a hybrid event. You can come and join us on site, or you can hop on Livestream and just take a moment, a pause in the middle of your week to just recenter in the truth of what you know to be true, and so that you can carry that more potently through the rest of your week. And the Men of Unity are transforming our fall men's retreat to a Saturday morning work, pray, eat event on November 6th from 9 to 1. This is an all-outside event at the church gazebo area. The men say that they'll build community through a shared group project, spiritual communion, and then fire up the grill for a relaxing barbecue. What is that? Who's that guy? Hoot. There's the toolsmith, Tim the Toolman, yeah. Anyway, I won't try that. So bring your lawn chair, work gloves, mask, and an open heart for this special time together. And we invite you to remain after service today for our annual membership meeting. If you are planning to join on Zoom and you haven't yet registered, please go ahead and do so by heading over to our calendar page and clicking the link, and you will receive the Zoom link that way. Thank you.
A quorum is required to conduct business. We will be electing 2 new trustees to 2 open seats available in 2021. Your board chair, John Brooks, has excitedly expressed his interest in returning. Your nominating committee thinks that is indeed a divine idea. Tori Horseman, another well-qualified candidate, has joined. Please meet them. Learn more about them, beginning at 12:30. If you are an active eligible member, you will have a vote. If you are not an active eligible member, you are still welcome. You will not have a vote. I'm so happy to be with you. Levon Hardison, come see us again. You know, I think metaphysically speaking, meaning that our greatest epic tales have layers of meaning, from the most personal to the most universal. They are sweeping and complex. They are not as simple as our Western minds would have us believe. Perhaps metaphysically speaking, the 7 days of creation says something like this: be like God. Be like God. You are a wildly creative being with immense capacities and profound responsibilities. And dear friends, once in a while, stop, and look at what you've done so far and give thanks. How about that for a day 7? Once in a while, stop and say, you know what? I'm going to celebrate what I've done so far. That's me talking to me. And allowing you to eavesdrop on our conversation. Take a deep breath with me. Close those outer eyes. Let us decide, yet again, in the same way that we close, though it be expressed in many, many different languages, that the God of our being is here. The God of our being can be nowhere else. The God of our being, expressed as wisdom, expressed as life, expressed as love throughout millennia, expressed as an order, a fundamental balance, a cosmic intelligence, a harmony, expressed in so many ways, is right here. So we allow a moment of silence that the God of our being might have the opportunity to shift from being an out there thing or experience to being an awareness. And for what awareness comes, we allow gratitude to be our response. And as we gently reopen these human eyes of ours, we allow that gratitude to become the very consciousness through which we move into the remainder of our days.
May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide